What's happening, Crypto Farm? Happy Monday. Good morning and welcome back to Love for Crypto. I'm Scott. It's a pleasure to have you here. I appreciate you taking the time out to consume the content, so thank you. Apologies for no video on Friday. I was in a bad way with the abscess. I tried to go and have it drained. I'm on antibiotics and that. I broke my jaw 16. For anyone wondering, I broke my jaw 16 years ago, and the tooth died. Tooth finally give up. So if it comes back, I'm going to lose my tooth. Wounded. Anyway, it's a pleasure to have you here. I appreciate you taking the time out to consume the content. Thank you. I just want to go over a couple of things today. One is an asset bill that has been dubbed fairly measured but raises civil rights concerns. Another one is the central banks that don't issue their own digital tokens could see demand for the currencies drop. And also, the IMF, risk can outweigh rewards for cryptocurrencies and CBDCs. We'll see how much we get through, and if we don't get through some of it, the links are in the description anyway. Have a read, let me know what you think. It's extremely interesting. But a US digital asset bill is fairly measured but raises civil rights concerns. The Digital Asset Market Structure and Investor Protection Act, introduced by US Representative Tom Bayer, is unsurprising and fairly measured, but in some key places its overbreadth or ambiguities raise civil rights and other issues. According to Gabriel Shapiro, attorney at law firm Belcher, Smolin and Van Loo, Bayer introduced the bill on Wednesday, saying that the US should provide a legal and regulatory environment that promotes innovation and growth in the digital asset sector, but should also update laws to give digital asset holders and investors basic protections. The full text of the bill is available clicking the hyperlink on the article. Meanwhile, in a Twitter thread, Shapiro shared a list of what's good, bad, and ugly in the proposal. You will not believe what's in the good. Among the good aspects of the proposal, the definitions drafting are not circular and reasonably technologically accurate, unlike many other blockchain legislations. There is a reasonable approach to securities laws, defining a token as a security, and desecuritization. I'm going to say that one again. There's a reasonable approach to securities law, defining a token as a security, and desecuritization. It codifies what actual delivery means under the Commodity Exchange Act and includes delivery through private keys. It tries to encourage market transparency by requiring digital asset repositories that aggregate off-chain transactions to be registered with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and publicly file off-chain transaction data. It authorizes the creation of digital versions of Federal Reserve notes on a distributed ledger with legal tender status and without weird surveillance requirement. Distributed ledger legal tender will still be centralized, guys. I want you to realize that. It's going to be a distributed ledger of centralized nodes within that institution, if you will. So for the bad, the bill empowers the Securities and Exchange Commission and the CFTC to classify the top 25 currently traded tokens as either securities or commodities, basically in their sole discretion and with no prescribed due process in case they get a mistake in their legal analysis. Though it allows 3-year grace period prior to desecuritization, it doesn't solve the chicken egg problem regarding sufficient decentralization because it only suspends registration requirements on not trading requirements. Desecuritization only happens once the SEC determines not to deny the desecuritization certificate, and there is no time limit for them to make that determination. What the fucking hell's a desecuritization certificate? You know what I mean? You want to explain what you fucking mean first, bro. This was the big one at the bottom. Where the fuck's it gone? Shapiro's proposal is to ditch the stablecoin part of the bill and focus on regulating stablecoins that are backed by securities. In fact, I missed a paragraph there. I don't want to word about that. There we go. Additionally, it has a blanket, probably totally unforeseeable and possibly unconstitutional rule that no person may issue, use, or permit to be used a digital asset fiat-based stablecoin that is not approved by the Secretary of the Treasury, and every token that is tied, pegged to, or collateralized substantially with any fiat currency would be legally useless and illegal. Would be illegal unless approved by the Department of Treasury. Oh my days. More of it. It's also essentially deems crypto derivatives illegal if they are not registered, meaning that all decentralized finance protocols will need to seek a license for a swap data repository and maintain at-risk management procedures, with Xavi described as super vague. I mean, proper seems like they just make it up as they fucking go along there, that shit. It's fucking madness, mate. Have a read yourself, read the actual report if you want, let me know in the comments what you think. So what's the IMF saying here? Financial inclusion may be a selling point for digital currencies, but other risks may outweigh those rewards. There are a number of pathways to the creation and deployment of digital offerings that may serve as replacements to, or depending on how you look at it, adjuncts to paper bills and coins. Bitcoin is but one obvious, highly visible example. PayPal and the card networks provide on-ramps for spending crypto at merchants. They accept PayPal, MasterCard and Visa respectively. Tesla has said it will accept Bitcoin payments directly without conversion to fiat. Stablecoins are becoming more widely available, of course, where digital coins such as Circle's USDC and the stablecoin known as Tether, backed by dollar and other liquid holdings, are gaining scrutiny by regulators that want assurances that reserves are not only adequate, but dollar for dollar. So these motherfuckers are going to have to prove they've got the dollar for dollar in reserves in case the shit hits the fan, if you know what I mean. We're seeing at least some initial forays into central bank digital currencies, as well as is well known. China is at the forefront. It's at the forefront here, with much smaller nations such as the Bahamas having launched digital legal tender, in this case their sand dollar, and we've got places like India and some parts of Europe coming on hell a lot as well. However, all eyes are on the US Federal Reserve, and the central bank's efforts are and will be key to what happens to digital currencies on the world stage. For where the dollar goes, many will follow. The greenback, of course, is the world's currency unit of reserve. One of. It's weird how it's a unit, it's the world's currency unit of reserve, but it's not the only currency in reserve. And it's not the only currency in the SDR basket. So is it really the global currency? As detailed in interviews in the space through interviews between Karen Webster and Jim Chunya. Ongoing efforts between MIT and the Boston Fed have been focused on speed, throughput, and resilience. Beyond the key focal points of the technology itself, the ways and means of getting digital currencies up and running lie some thorny points yet to be addressed. Namely, digital currencies can be built, so to speak, but should they? So they've released a blog, the IMF. If you want to go in again, hit the article up, find the actual full blog. Digital money, according to the blog, requires significant investment as well as difficult policy choices, such as clarifying the role of the public and private sectors in providing and regulating those digital offerings. No seamless transitions. Some paths are riskier than ever, according to the IMF chief. Among those risky decisions to use crypto assets as national currencies, we contend then that El Salvador's recent decision to use Bitcoin as legal tender would raise numerous red flags. We all know where this is gonna go. Because it's like there's like a yo-yo here. They're all like, oh, but the risks and rewards and this and that, and then the next page is like market insider central banks that don't issue their own digital tokens could see the demand for their currencies drop. CBDCs could even be part of their policy toolkit. Central banks could see demand for their physical currency drop unless they use CBDCs, says the Bank of America. The strategist said central banks could even make digital currencies part of their monetary policy toolkit. Central banks of major global economies are currently researching or testing digital currencies. They're gonna do it, innit? And I just wonder why all the other articles are about the risks and this and that. Central banks that don't issue their own digital currency will face a drop-off in demand for their physical currency, with the US dollar and euro especially at risk of losing their leading global role. Bank of America analysts have warned the widespread adoption and usage of central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, is inevitable. They said in a research note last week, such CBDCs would be used as digital cash rather than a store of value, and could also play a part in monetary policy toolkits. Not having a CBDC creates the risk of losing out to countries that do have one, as well as to private actors or companies launching tokens. The Bank of America strategists believe much of this is linked to the surging popularity in private blockchain-based cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. The usefulness of digital cash could prompt people to adopt CBDCs from a foreign institution to carry out transactions if their own central bank fails to act. It's an interesting perspective to take, but it's not the only perspective. Popularity in private blockchain-based cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin is surging because, quite frankly, the banks are lying. Horrible people. They're just the worst people on the planet. Are bankers and paedophiles. Like, I wanted to say murderers, but one guy going out killing one person ain't as bad as the amount of people banking wars have killed in the last 4 centuries. So in some cases, countries without a CBDC could be dollarized as their citizens start using other countries' CBDCs and potentially see the value of their currency drop sharply. The analysts said in a Wednesday note, excuse me, that could have an impact on the status of countries in the global financial system. If the US and EU don't digitize their currencies, then the dollar risks losing its dominance, and the euro's role, in global transactions and reserves. The strategists argued the declining use of physical cash by consumers, the threat of losing control of monetary matters, and the increasing use of blockchain by businesses are factors driving central banks towards their own digital currency. They're going off waffling a load of fucking shit these days, aren't they? But I guess they're not wrong. We expect every bank, central bank, commercial bank to introduce their own ledger, private token, CBDC, whatever. It is, I suppose, worth noting, if you don't do that, you will be left behind. Innovate or die. Innovate or die. The time has come. There's no messing about. You have to literally roll with the punches or get knocked the fuck out. What are you going to do? Yeah? I'm going to roll with the punches and see what happens long term. You know the script, guys. Invest in yourself, invest in internet of value, live long and orderly. All. Never let it go. Stake it, bake it. Feed the beast till it feeds you. Yeah? Don't ever sell that shit. Pass it on when you die. Figure out, if you're not getting rewards off any of your crypto, figure out how to get rewards off some of your crypto. Don't give a shit if you have to move it from one asset to another. Get it into ADA, get it staked on Daedalus, get it into VeChain, put it on VeChain and get some VTH or whatever the fuck it is for free. There's literally hundreds of tokens you can buy now, and you can just put it in a wallet and get rewards for them. So there's no excuse. All these people, when you're selling, I'm not fucking selling, I'm figuring out ways to get a passive income and reward revenue. You should too. Yeah? Wishing health and happiness to you and yours. We love crypto, love the internet of value, and we love you. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.